Hi there, folks. It's Ben again. This is a video for the Math Tech class. We are looking at what you need to do for our, I think it's day 9 stuff. And what we're looking at is doing some data manipulation with Python. So in this regard, Python, which we're using through this Colab program, but Python is a language that's gotten really popular lately because of its ability to handle data. And you'll hear those phrases thrown around a lot: big data and data analytics and some other terminology like that. Okay. And so I wanted to expose you all to just a tiny little bit on that, because one of the big things that you have to be ready to do with really anything, this is going to be the thing for people doing stuff in business, in education, everything in the next decade or so. You're going to have to be able to pull some data from whatever sources they might be and take that data and kind of slice it apart and be able to take a look at it and to actually do some things with it. So the exercise for today is really meant to have you find some data, download it, and after downloading the data, to put it in a location where you can have Python get hold of it, and then getting hold of it, actually do something with it. Now, we're not going to do anything fancy. We are just going to look at graphing it. I'm going to show you a little bit of what's going on with that, and try to talk to you about what it means and stuff. So in this regard, what we're looking at is data that has to do with the pandemic. And so if that's something that, brings up bad associations and stuff, I'm sorry, but it's just a topical piece of data that it makes sense to look at. So with that in mind, let me, I am realizing I need to open, I had closed a window that I needed to have left open. All right, but there, I've got it. So I'm going to share screen with you, and with this sharing screen, I want us to take a look at what we've got going on, and all sorts of things like that. And so let me find the right button to hit the share screen. And wow, that is a lot of screens. So give me a second to find where I put that at. I'm hoping this is it here. So yeah, I think so. All right. So this is taking a look at where we are. And I think when you all go to the pages section of this, you should automatically be thrown to the day 9 page. And oh, look at that. I forgot to link the Jupyter Notebook in there. I will do that in just a moment. And then after I finish with this video, I'll link that in as well. So anyway, so the Jupyter Notebook will be there. And what you will need to remember to do on that when you download it, well, you won't download it. When you open it, I'm going to have given you access where you can view it. And I need you to first off go up to File and save a copy in Drive. And then for your copy in Drive, it should pop us right over there. And then you need to rename your copy in Drive to be something like, I tell you in the actual page what to call it. I think that it's day 9, your name, and what's that? What's the other thing? Yeah, I'll call myself group 0 because I don't actually have, a group number. All right. So with regard to that, though, let me no. Oh, it's covering up what I need to look at. So coming back over, share screen. Okay. So we'll do the check-in today. I'm going to talk to you about downloading some data, finding one country's data, and then we're going to do some graphing. Okay. So insofar as finding the data, I give you some idea here that if you Google for daily COVID cases CSV, that you should turn up with some sources that you can download things from. And I, in particular, picked this one that says ourworldindata.org. And from it, I went to the CSV link here, and I just downloaded the entirety of their data set. And then that data set, I can show you because I have a copy of it already open. I think that's it there. Yep. And so this is what their data set looks like, gobs and gobs of numbers, and it probably doesn't have a lot of meaning to you unless you zoom in on that very first row and look across there, and at the top of each column, it gives you these various different names that are an indication of what the content is. One of the things is location. Now, I would have thought that would instead of location be referred to as country, until I panned down here to, oh, come on. It's down here quite a ways. But after Afghanistan, the next entry is Africa. And, well, Africa is not a country, it's a continent, so in any case, they say location because they have summations in there where they'll talk about all the countries together in Africa, all the countries together in Asia, and so forth. So, but in any case, though, you've got that file there and you have saved it somewhere. I don't know what your computer is set up to do. Mine has a download folder, both on the Mac that I use for work and on the Windows machine that I have at home. So I know where the download folder is. And so I go there. I can't really bring it up to show you here very well, but I go there and I know that the name of the file that I'm talking about is OWID-COVID-data.csv. Okay, the CSV stands for comma separated values, and that just tells the computer how to read a file that's full of a bunch of text and how to separate the various pieces that are in it. But you're able to visualize it as this big table that has these columns that are headed up with things like ISO code, continent, location, date, total cases, and stuff like that. Okay. Now that you have that file, you need to upload it to your drive. And so I'm going to, I did not leave a window open to that. So I have got to open a window to my drive. And hopefully I don't have anybody's grades sitting out or anything. Okay, I do have some things that are sensitive that I need to make sure are not showing. So yeah, I will just scroll down a little bit there. All right. And then let me share screen with you yet again and find the right place. Jeez. Okay. So as you can see here on my drive, I have a folder called Colab Notebooks. Because you have dealt with some Colab notebooks, you should already have a folder named that. If you don't have a folder named that, then you need to go ahead and make one. If you need to make one, just go up to the new button, click on that and choose folder and name the folder Colab Notebooks. If it's already there, don't make another one, okay? But once I know about the Colab Notebooks location, I will need to upload that file. So new file upload. And for me, that's in my downloads folder, along with God knows how many other things I really need to tidy up. But hopefully you can see that there. OWID COVID data. I've actually got 2 copies of it sitting there, but I tell it to open and it takes a minute to think about uploading it, but it gets it uploaded. So, oh, it's actually asking me to whether I want to keep it as a separate file or not, and I don't. So I guess I'll just close that. All right. So in any case, though, once you have a CSV file in Drive, you can also open it with Sheets as well as opening it with Microsoft Excel. Okay. But we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be dealing with it using your Colab. All right. So sharing screen again to show you that. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to run down through basically doing the work that you're looking at doing today. It has explanations as we go along. There's also explanations on the pages inside of Canvas. But this first thing that we do here is a piece of code. Now, I don't want y'all to think of this as just magic formulas that you chant into the computer and somehow they make things happen. But a lot of times that feels like what we're doing. So bear with me a little bit here. I want to kind of explain a little bit as we go along. Remember that these import statements were something that we had to tell the computer to have it load up certain abilities, certain packages, so it would know what to do. One of these packages is called pandas. I am sure that stands for something, but I've never heard anybody call it anything but pandas. So we're importing pandas and we're importing NumPy. I know the way I'm saying these starts to sound ridiculous, but from Google Colab, we're going to import the package called Drive, or actually it's not a package at this point, it's a specific thing. And Drive does what you think it does. It allows you to use your Google Drive. And so here for this, we'll say drive.mount of this tick mark /content/drive, okay? You don't have to change that at all. But here where it says path, if the name of your file was something different, or if you ignored my advice and did not save it into the Colab Notebooks folder, or if you weren't able to make one for some strange reason, then you will have to put the appropriate path in there. Talk to me about it. I'll help you get it figured out. I don't know whether this will make me do this again or not because I did it earlier today, but I'm going to go ahead and hit Command Enter in order to execute this. And okay, and yes, and it did what I wanted it to. It popped up and says that I need to go to this URL and I need to enter this authorization code. So I'm hoping this will show you everything here, but it might pop up a new screen. So it has come up and said to choose an account, and I'm choosing my school account as opposed to my home account. And it gives me this warning that it will let Google Drive for desktops see, edit, and delete, and view photos, and retrieve mobile client information, and all kinds of stuff. But it's Google allowing itself to do things to my Google account. So I go ahead and tell it to allow that. Then hopefully you can see here, there's this huge string of letters and numbers that I have no possible way of memorizing. But fortunately, it's got a copy button that I click on, and it copies it to the clipboard. Then I'm able to go back to this day 9 place that I was and paste. Can I not paste? Okay, that's kind of weird. If I hit Command V, okay, it should let me do it from there. And okay, yep. And now it says that it's mounted the drive. Okay, so then you're able to use this code on the next line after that. And what this code says is to take data infect and use the pandas package, read a CSV file, which we've stored the name of the file under path. And then I'm going to go ahead and tell it to print that out so that y'all can see it. Okay. So as you can see here, it has the row numbers out to the side, and the row number starts with 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it skips a few and gets down to 84,096. So there's a lot of rows in it. And columns have these headers, ISO code, continent, location. There's a lot of columns in it. If you're interested, I will pop over to this book here, which you probably can't read because it's so small. Let me zoom in a little bit there, but you can see the ISO code, continent, and so forth. What I did was to take a row and copy it and paste it using the transpose, just like we did on the first day in Excel. And that allowed me to see what the names of all of those various columns were. And I had it at hand as I was making the assignment up. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. All right. And then we're going to go back to where we were at. So, all right. So you can see that there's bunches of data there. And the thing we're going to be interested in is new cases and new cases smoothed. And then we're going to come back and look at new deaths and total deaths in order to do stuff there. But because we have those names of columns, pandas allows us to actually pull out a column, right? So in doing this, one of the things we're going to have to see about is countries. Now in class, I'm going to get you all to choose countries, and I will check them off and you know, assign them to people and whatever like that. Okay. But to have a list of countries, what I did here was to take all of the dates and pull them out. And then I asked it to pull out from there every place that it had the 25th of April appearing. Now, maybe I should have done the 24th of April. I don't know, but You should maybe, you should try out and see with this if you use the 25th or the 26th, you know, whatever will be yesterday from the perspective of whatever you're doing right then, okay? So you'll have to change this number to fit when you do it, because if you pull new data, then the new data may have one more day of stuff. In any case, though, I told it to figure out where all those places were in the list that had, you know, the new data in it. And then by knowing that, I could look at the data, in fact, the location column, and have a list of countries, because it should only have that one date appearing once for each country. So if you all find out that that doesn't make sense, or that flubs something up, let me know, and I'll try to fix things as best we can. Okay. So anyway, though, then I made a country list by just taking the countries that we already had and taking those indices, those locations there. And so I just pulled them out, and I've just got a list of, you know, a list of the countries from there. But because when I did it with the data in fact location, I would have ended up having like 400 copies of Afghanistan, because there were 400 different records. Anyway, though, once I got that, what I'm going to do in this code here is to print out the first one for Afghanistan, and then I'm going to use one of these for loops that will go through and print out what the ranges are for each of these countries here. All right, now you can see that like Cuba is going to be row 18,823 through 19,232, and Denmark will be you know, 2508 to 2956. Okay, that's just telling us what rows these are on. Now, because y'all will have countries in mind that you're going to be looking for stuff in, then excuse me, then you can go ahead and pull these things apart and see, but yeah, and see in this later part where we are actually going to get the data from. All right, so in particular here in the next bit, I'm going to do something with Canada. And that went from 13,713 to 14,168. So let me see, 13,713 to 14,168. Okay, so I've still got the same data here. And I'm going to tell it my start and my finish are that. And then I'm going to, from that, have it pull out a list of the dates that you know, go along in there. And then I'm going to have it pull out the new cases per million. So, you know, that's not the number of cases in the country, but the number of cases per million people in the country. So that seems like that will kind of balance things out, so that it doesn't seem like Monaco has a very low rate of cases just because they have a low population, and it won't inflate. Let's see, India and Brazil have had a lot of cases, but they've got a lot of people as well, you know, and so looking at it kind of in this per million basis will make that a little bit more informative. So I'm going to just go ahead and tell it to do that. Notice it doesn't print out anything, but now I've got the X and the Y saved. And I'm going to come down to this next bit. And hopefully you saw this before, that we have something called Matplotlib Dot Pi Plot, which we're going to put PLT every time we need to use something out of that. And so here, when we say PLT.plot, it's just going to this package and saying, hey, how do I draw these things? So this is a plot of the data from, I think it was about February 20th last year up through this, yesterday, okay? And if you look at that, it doesn't look like a function. It's really jagged and stuff. And that's the reason why we have this other version of it that's referred to as smoothed. And this still looks fairly jagged, but it doesn't have those weird jumps in it. The thing that's going on is that, maybe people can't get to the hospital on a weekend or something like that. And consequently, some hospitals may, for their cases or their testing or whatever, may have a big bunch of cases come up on Monday and relatively few on Friday and Saturday and stuff. Something like that might happen, okay? And so we've got this smoother version here that's a little bit more informative. And you can see that it looks like there was kind of a hump around day 100. And it looks like there was another big spike that happened here, around day 350. And then maybe something here around day 450 or something, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead here on this plot and put those two plots together. So if in the same cell, code cell, if you have two plot statements, it will assume you want to have them on the same graph. And so with this here, you're able to see the smooth line sitting right on top of the data line that jumps back and forth all over the place. Also notice that I have went ahead and used Y for the color yellow. There's several other colors, blue, green, orange, I think might use something other than O for it, and black, for reasons I cannot guess, uses K for black. That's weird. But if you use patterns of dots and dashes after it, some of them it'll reject, but it has various different line styles that are built based on those patterns. So if, for instance, I told it to replot that and I just said dot dot, it doesn't know what I mean by that. But if I told it just dot, then it would not connect the data points. And if I said dot and then dash, then it connects them with a solid line. Whereas if I said dot dash dot, then it kind of does a dot dash dot. Yeah, anyway. And the two dashes mean a dashed line and stuff like that. Okay. So that's the sort of thing that we're looking at there. And we have seen that we get those three peaks in the new infections rate. And now we're going to look at the same data, but for new deaths, okay? And as you can see, we have a peak around day 100 and a peak around day 350-ish. And there's a sort of a weird little pop-up peak here around day 250. So, but as you might guess, that day 100 peak happens just a little ways after the peak for the new cases. Not surprising, right? But what we're going to try to do here is to zoom in on those and see where those peaks are happening at. And this is just learning the skill of trying to figure out where something's happening at. So these dates on this looks to me, just kind of guessing, like they're between 0 and 450. So I said 0 to 450 for a low guess and a high guess. And then I am going to tell this to plot from start to finish on those dates, okay? And then I'm going to try to zoom in there. I want to get this one that looks like it's around 100. So I'm going to look from 50 to 150. Okay. And looking in there a little closer, it really does look like it's pretty close to 100, right? So let's go 90 to 110. Yeah, all right. It looks like either it's right there at day 100, or you might say something about it being here at day 97, okay? Either way on that, if we roll down to the next thing here, we can say, all right, for day 97, what was the date on that? Oh, damn you. Okay, and that was May 2nd last year, okay? But then similarly, go back up here and do this one here that looked like it looks like it's somewhere between, I don't know, 350 and 370. That's just eyeballing it. So 350 to 370. Okay. And of course, yours may be different. Now this looks like there's something higher over here just to the left of 350. So I think maybe I guessed wrong on that. I'm going to say 340. Okay. So it looks like, yeah, it looks like that peak was right there at 349. Okay. If you want to narrow it down a little bit more, you can, but I'm just going to say 349. And then I can find out what that date is. All right. So when you're doing your report, I want you to figure out, how many peaks that you got, and look up and find each peak and figure out the date for it. So this is kind of doing a little bit of light data science stuff of trying to use information that you've got on a graph and track it back to get you, different information and stuff. So last bit here is to get the plot that has to do with total deaths. Now notice that total deaths goes up and it levels out for a while, but it always continues going up. And that's because, and this is, sorry, statistics are always depressing. With total deaths, people don't get better. So, you don't have a number of total deaths going down. So, yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, though, once you've got that done, then I want you to make sure to go back over here to the data manipulation with Colab thing and to upload, okay? So your view will be different than mine. Let's see, your student view will look like this, and you'll say start assignment, and you'll have to go from Google Drive and so forth, okay? But then also make sure that you, where did I put that? And I can't find it. Oh, well, I'll go the other way to find it. Make sure that you go to the Day 9 Progress Data Manipulation Colab, your progress report, okay? And with that, you'll tell it to start assignment, and you'll type stuff here and respond to those prompts, and make sure that you have written down those dates that you came up with, and mention those in your report there, okay? So that should get you through with stuff. I don't think this one's going to take you as long as most of them do, but you will have to do a little bit of playing around with stuff, and you'll get used to dealing with files and things. I think this is a good thing for you to know about. Okay. All right. I'll see you all in class. He says, and then I can't find the stop record button. I found it now. See ya.